Day 2 of Diddy's trial has wrapped, and the atmosphere around the courtroom has grown noticeably heavier. Newly surfaced filings suggest that prosecutors pressed him on a major inconsistency: his shifting explanation about the footage showing him assaulting Cassie. According to these documents, Diddy initially admitted the clip was authentic and even issued a public apology. This sudden change of story indicates deep concern about what Cassie might reveal under oath. And now that she's officially listed as a witness, the stakes have multiplied. Her testimony could bring critical context to the video and dismantle whatever narrative the defense is trying to rebuild. As it stands, the pressure on Diddy is only intensifying, with far more damaging revelations potentially on the horizon.
Jury selection is officially underway in the trafficking trial of Sean Diddy Combs. Chloe Malas was in federal court today, and Chloe, no jurors selected, but a pretty revealing start to the 8-week trial.
Lester, that's right. It was an illuminating first day of court. Combs entered the courtroom wearing a crew neck sweater and a white button-down shirt. He had some gray in his hair and in his goatee. And at one point, he told the judge that he needed to use the bathroom and that he was feeling a little bit nervous. Now, also, several celebrities were named today, although they haven't been accused of any wrongdoing. They might be mentioned during the course of the trial. Their names are Michael B. Jordan, Mike Myers, Kanye West, and his former girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, who has accused him of years of physical and emotional abuse. And she is expected to testify during the trial. Now, Combs has vehemently denied all of the allegations against him. I also want to point out that celebrity attorney Mark Garagos, he was present in the courtroom. His daughter is Tenny Garagos, one of the lead attorneys for Combs throughout this trial. Now, a source telling NBC News that he hasn't joined the team, but he is advising on jury.
With footage of Diddy assaulting Cassie is the spark that ignited this entire legal storm. And ironically, it may be the very evidence that ultimately brings his defense crashing down. That video has become the centerpiece of the case, carrying a weight that Diddy's team can't afford to ignore. His attorneys are fully aware of how damaging the recording is both legally and publicly, which is why they've been pushing relentlessly to undermine it. Every filing, every motion, every last-minute argument seems designed to cast doubt on its legitimacy or keep it out of the courtroom entirely.
Wants that video or videos excluded from trial. And for that, we turn to his motion in limine to exclude video footage of that March 5th, 2016 incident. Motion in limine is a pretrial motion that aims at preventing evidence from coming into trial or limiting it in some way. And it starts by saying, quote, "There is no longer any dispute that the CNN footage from March 5th, 2016 at the Intercontinental Hotel offered by the government at 3 separate bail hearings is wholly inaccurate, having been altered, manipulated, sped up, and edited to be out of sequence. As indicated below, CNN paid Redacted, don't know who this person is, Redacted, for footage, copied that footage in unknown ways, presented that footage out of order, and destroyed the original. Accordingly, all the footage from CNN is inaccurate and inadmissible. As for the 2 items of footage filmed by an iPhone 6, those pieces of footage are inaccurate and inadmissible as well for the reasons."
Before the video surfaced publicly, Diddy's legal team insisted that the footage didn't exist and that Cassie's claims were nothing more than fabrication. They attempted to paint the entire situation as a coordinated attack with no real evidence behind it. But once the video exploded across social media, that narrative collapsed instantly. Diddy quickly issued a public apology on Instagram, expressing regret and stating he was deeply ashamed of what the world had seen. He positioned the apology as full acceptance of accountability and responsibility.
Difficult to reflect on the darkest times in your life, but sometimes you got to do that. I was fucked up. I mean, I hit rock bottom, but I make no excuses. My behavior on that video is inexcusable. I take full responsibility for my actions in that video. Disgusted. I was disgusted then when I did it. I'm disgusted now. I went and I sought out professional help. I had to go into therapy and go into rehab. Had to ask God for his mercy and grace. I'm so sorry. But I'm committed to be a better man each and every day. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm truly sorry.
Combs requests from the court is to hold a hearing. And at this hearing, Combs explains that his team wants to call a forensic video analysis named Connor McCourt to show that this video evidence is inaccurate. Sean Combs' defense team argues the videos are unreliable, that they would unfairly confuse and mislead the jury, that they would be more prejudicial to Combs than it would provide any kind of relevant or probative value for the prosecution's case. They write, quote, "If a picture is worth 1,000 words, a video is worth a number well over the court's word limit." Again, the basic argument from Combs and his team is that CNN heavily and deceptively edited the video and turned about 10 and a half minutes of footage into a 48-second, quote, out-of-order clip that ended with Combs appearing to drag redacted, again, we believe that to be Cassandra Ventura, to a hotel room. And they argue that this painted the rapper and the music mogul in the worst possible light for the world to see. And as they previously incorrectly mentioned, prosecutors relied on this tape in prior bail hearings to support their argument that Combs shouldn't be released pre-trial.
Diddy is pushing hard to keep the footage out of the courtroom, hoping it never reaches the jury's eyes. But according to multiple legal experts, the video meets the requirements for admissibility, meaning the court is not obligated to hide it. In response, his legal team filed a motion aimed at suppressing the footage altogether. They argued that the video, along with materials taken from Diddy's residence during federal searches, was gathered unlawfully. According to the defense, the warrants used in the raid were excessively broad and allowed investigators to seize items far beyond what the law intended.
Diddy Combs looking to suppress evidence in his federal trial. Senior investigative correspondent Aaron Katursky is back with the story. Good morning again, Aaron.
And to you, Michael. You'll remember federal agents from Homeland Security Investigations were hardly shy when they raided Sean Combs' opulent homes in Los Angeles and Miami, guns drawn. The jailed music mogul now argues those searches and other searches of his iCloud accounts, electronic devices, and New York City hotel room following his arrest were unconstitutional. His lawyers argue evidence obtained through those searches must be suppressed. Diddy's lawyers say the government presented a grossly distorted picture of reality when applying for the search warrants, omitting certain facts and including salacious details from an unnamed producer that were never credible. Combs has pleaded not guilty to racketeering, conspiracy, sex trafficking, and prostitution charges. The defense is also arguing here his ex-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, was a willing participant in drug-fueled sex performances called freak-offs, not coerced, as prosecutors allege. This latest challenge to his case comes 3 months before trial, and as Combs loses one of his attorneys, Anthony Rico says under no circumstances can he continue to represent Combs. He offered no details about that decision, Robin.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Legal. Analysts are now questioning whether anyone who allegedly assisted in hiding or dismissing misconduct surrounding Diddy could also face consequences. Reports suggest that certain hotel employees may have been compensated to ignore incidents. And if investigators prove that individuals knowingly concealed potential criminal behavior, those actions could carry serious legal repercussions.
When I looked at that thing, to be honest, I thought that the people who was watching it, because you know at those hotels, they have security personnel that watch that stuff. And if they didn't call the police, they should be in jail. I don't care what nobody say. You know, whoever watched that tape and didn't submit that to the authorities, they should be brought up on charges.
Why do you think the video is barely coming out right now? Because you got a lot of people, you know, that's wondering why it took so long.
First of all, they know that Puff probably paid the security personnel because he knew it was on camera. When he made it to the hallway, when she made it to that phone, once that phone picked up, that's going straight to security. That's for emergency purposes only. So either the concierge or somebody that's handling emergency type situations when she picked up that phone. So now Puff probably had somebody pay them off. 9 times out of 10, he had somebody pay them off, bro.
These allegations haven't appeared overnight, they've been accumulating for years. As far back as 2018, a man named Jonathan Audie came forward, claiming that Diddy was exploiting Cassie and coercing her into situations with other men. At the time, his statements were met with skepticism, and few took them seriously.
They're gay.
Who?
Both Diddy and Ross and Khaled. They're all gay. Okay?
DJ Khaled, Rick Ross, and P. Diddy?
Yeah.
They all gay?
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right.
Khaled is a Hamas supporter.
Okay. Who supporter?
Hamas.
Yeah.
Sorry, I said it wrong.
No worries.
Hamas supporter. Okay.
Right.
I had sex with Cassie and Sean. Basically, he would masturbate and tell me what to do with Cassie. I had like 15 encounters, and I heard a lot.
Hidden in plain sight.
It's hidden.
I think I see what you're saying.
Okay, how do I know this?
Yeah, that's what I want to know. How do you know this?
Do you know Sean?
Diddy reportedly had a chance to cut a deal with federal prosecutors, but he declined. Court records indicate that authorities presented him with a plea offer that would have required him to admit to the charges he currently faces, while also identifying key figures allegedly involved in the scheme.
Last hearing before Sean Combs' trial starts, when he walked into federal court today, he appeared to be looking for his family. They've pretty much been at all of the hearings that I've been to, but there was no presence of his sons or his mother or his sister who had previously been at those hearings. So here's what came out of today's hearing. Number one, the government acknowledged that they offered Combs a plea deal. Combs acknowledged he has no interest in taking that. They're going to move forward with the trial. They also talked about the jury selection process, which one legal expert I spoke to said is probably the most important thing that you want to pay close attention to before the actual trial starts. And thirdly, we learned that Combs will be adding 2 new attorneys to his defense team. And just to recap, Combs, who is 55 years old, could spend the rest of his life behind bars if convicted on sex trafficking and racketeering. He has pleaded not guilty to all charges.
Major developments tonight involving the case against Sean Diddy Combs, what he decided in court today, and what this now means, the move coming just 4 days before his trial is set to begin. Here's Aaron Katursky.
Tonight, Sean Combs makes it official. He's rejecting the government's offer to plead guilty and spare himself the possibility of a prolonged term in prison. When asked if he turned down the offer, Combs answered, "Yes, I do, Your Honor," as he stood in a baggy beige jail uniform. Terms were not disclosed, but prosecutors did say a plea could result in a shorter sentence for Combs than if he's convicted. The decision guarantees Combs will face trial beginning just 4 days from now that will test whether one of music's most prolific figures used his power, wealth, and fame to sexually exploit both women and men for decades. Combs has pleaded not guilty to racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, and transportation to engage in prostitution charges that accused him of coercing alleged victims into prolonged drug-fueled sexual activity that he called freak-offs and threatening them into
During the selection process, prospective jurors are being asked whether they feel prepared to view the graphic footage involving Diddy, sometimes referred to as freakout tapes. These videos are considered central evidence, capturing highly sensitive events that could have serious implications for multiple parties involved. How the jury responds to this material may play a significant role in shaping the direction of the case, making their willingness and ability to remain impartial a top priority for the court.
To ask you that I found fascinating is that Diddy reportedly yesterday asked that judge for a bathroom break, telling the judge, "I'm sorry, Your Honor, I'm a little nervous today." Were you surprised that he admitted that? And what do you think that reveals about him ahead of opening statements?
I'm so glad you brought that up. Look, I've said it before, I'll say it again. The fact that we are going to trial in under a year from when a defendant is arrested and indicted at the federal level doesn't happen. But Combs has been pushing towards this trial date. He doesn't want to spend one more day behind in federal lockup. Having said that, you're now at this case, and the government, this is the Southern District of New York, they don't move forward with the case unless they feel they have the goods. He's looking at not only life in prison, and the maximum charge, but potentially decades in prison. The third charge that he's facing, transportation to engage in prostitution, that can carry 10 years in prison, and some argue that's the most straightforward charge to actually convict him on. So I think he's feeling the weight of what's happening. Jury selection, a panel of his peers coming in to decide his fate. It is real right now for him.
Of course, they're all going to know who Sean Combs is, but they're going to need to find jurors who, despite the fact that they are familiar with Diddy, they still can be fair.
Prosecutors say Combs turned his significant business interests into a criminal enterprise to plan elaborate sex parties, including drug-fueled marathons where women were coerced into sex and then threatened if they didn't keep quiet. The jury pool filling out a 17-page questionnaire, answering questions about their impartiality amid warnings the evidence is graphic and sexually explicit.
The judge has drilled down on some of those questions that they answer in the questionnaire to see whether or not they had any issues to serving in this trial.
Diddy's legal team has confirmed that the footage will indeed be shown during the trial. These recordings were seized last year from his Miami residence during federal raids, and authorities have been meticulously reviewing and decrypting the data ever since. Reports suggest the collection contains hundreds of hours of video, though only a fraction is expected to be presented in court.
Will they be shown these tapes?
100%.
Will they have to watch it in court? Like during
100% in court in front of a room of people. And so that's the other thing that's awful. They are going to be watching basically for hours on end in front of people. So in front of victim one, whoever it may be, there's going to be played in the federal courtroom.
And victim one would have been made aware of this.
Oh, 100%. She's probably being told right now, like, this is going to be played in open court. Your sex history, your sex life is going to be talked about in open court. All of this.
And presumably then she knows that and she's pushing forward because she hasn't withdrawn.
But don't forget this. It doesn't matter if she does or she doesn't. This isn't a civil case. This is the criminal case. So she could flat out tell the federal government, I don't want to participate. And they can say, we don't care. This is a crime. Crimes are against the United States, not against them. Keep calling her victim one, but don't forget, she's a witness to a crime. So it doesn't matter. She went to them in today and said, I'm not participating. Their response, we don't care. Get your ass on the...
Suggest investigators have gathered extensive material connected to the case against Diddy. Many witnesses reportedly agreed to speak anonymously because they believed they appeared on the recovered recordings. Sources say prosecutors interviewed hundreds of individuals before moving forward, aiming to build a case they felt confident in. With the Southern District of New York known for its exceptionally high conviction rate,
implicate dozens of unidentified witnesses and alleged co-conspirators around the world. And some of the key witnesses to the supposed incidents are dead. Basically meaning, how can we defend against it? The defense is not even permitted to share the identities of the individuals described in the disclosure letter with Mr. Combs until April 18th, further hampering defense counsel's ability to investigate. Collectively, these new allegations require many months, if not years, to investigate, and if admitted, would require a series of mini trials, certain to double the length of a trial the government originally said would last 3 weeks. So this is an explosive allegation that on its face, I don't know if I necessarily disagree with. If they are bringing in evidence of uncharged conduct, wouldn't the defense have an opportunity to investigate it and challenge it? It seems like they're making a point. So if this evidence is allowed in, there is a chance this could delay the trial significantly. We all know Combs wants to go to trial, but how can he properly defend himself against this?
Diddy's legal team is facing a difficult fight as the trial approaches. Next voice on top of everything. Cassie is also moving forward with her testimony, and she remains the only public named witness so far. She was in a long-term relationship with Diddy for about 11 years, giving her a unique perspective on that period of his life. If she chooses to share detailed information from that time, her account could significantly influence how the case unfolds, with limited strategies remaining. Diddy's legal team has introduced a new angle in his defense. They're arguing that his judgment may have been impaired at the time, suggesting he wasn't fully aware of his actions. Court filings dated Sunday, April 27th, indicate that his attorneys submitted a motion claiming diminished mental capacity due to the influence of alcohol or other substances. If the court accepts this argument, it could significantly reduce the legal consequences he faces. The situation could become even more difficult for him. Multiple reports indicate that the pressure surrounding the case has caused shifts within his legal team. Diddy had been represented by the firm Grubman, Shire, Meiselas and Sachs for more than 2 decades, but they stepped away after the federal lawsuit was filed. Their decision signaled how serious and complex the case has become, leaving Diddy to rebuild his defense as the legal fallout continues to grow. Next voice with limited strategies remaining. Diddy's legal team has introduced a new angle in his defense. They're arguing that his judgment may have been impaired at the time, suggesting he wasn't fully aware of his actions. Court filings dated Sunday, April 27th, indicate that his attorneys submitted a motion claiming diminished mental capacity due to the influence of alcohol or other substances. If the court accepts this argument, it could significantly reduce the legal consequences he faces.